Blake Lively might have just done herself in this battle with Justin Baldoni, although she didn't do it intentionally. It was something she said
long before she ever worked with Justin Baldoni.
Right, but there's something she said that has now been resurfaced, and it is right on the nose as far as what the issues are in her battle with Justin Baldoni.
Who's really winning this war between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? The powerful smear machine is still going, but what's really crazy is this new person she hired. We got a lot to discuss.
Well, it looks like Blake Lively's lawyer dropped her like a hot potato after Justin Baldwin's team unleashed some new damning receipts on them that they totally did not see coming. Allegedly, Blake's lawyer saw the new batch of evidence Justin's team was about to drop, and she hightailed it out of there faster than Blake could say it ends with us. No lawyer wants to tarnish their image fighting a case built on smoke and mirrors.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take over the movie.
Blake allegedly didn't just lie to the media and manipulate facts in the lawsuit. She also allegedly lied to her lawyer about some important details, making the lawyer face pressure from every corner. Not only that, but Blake would also allegedly insult her lawyer, question her abilities, and come up with different excuses not to pay her. Imagine doing that to the person who is supposed to defend you in court. Like, make it make sense. So guys, it's clear this case is going to be more dramatic than a badly written soap opera. So let's get into it. So get this: after Blake brought her lawsuit against Justin and had media giants like the New York Times essentially giving her their stamp of approval, she probably thought she had already won the case. Her lawyer, Meryl Conant Guskay, probably thought so as well, but that was before Justin's team published a ton of damning evidence debunking every single allegation Blake made against him. Once people realized how much of a fraud she and her husband Ryan Reynolds were, the media started turning on them, and public opinion about them shifted from yay to nay. However, it's even much worse behind the scenes, and trust me, you're not ready for the wild twists and turns this case takes. Her lawyer Conant Guskay reportedly quit because she realized the case had so many holes that she knew it wouldn't hold up in court. But what's even worse was the treatment that Blake allegedly gave her while she worked on the case.
Days ago, William Morris's CEO, Ari Emanuel, made it seem like a moral act of loyalty, like that exists in Hollywood. He heaped praise on Ryan and Blake as soulfully beautiful people, flawless, really. He mocked Baldoni in the process. He said, it's an effed up bad situation with what Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. Now, he said Lively and Reynolds are good people. They've been in the business for decades and have never had any bad press about them, and all the people that work with them like them. Okay, he must not have the internet.
Now, y'all already know that Blake is the mean girl of Hollywood. For some reason, everyone she has worked with has a bad or weird story about her. Every resurfaced interview shows her saying something snarky or outright mean to someone, and her career is a museum of burnt bridges at first. When these videos showing Blake being mean started resurfacing, her people tried to explain it as her just being misunderstood, like, oh, Blake just has an unusual sense of humor that not everyone can relate to. Or, oh, Blake is actually very shy and she says out of pocket things that are supposed to be funny but get misinterpreted. However, you can only pull off that type of cover for so long, and at some point, it became obvious that Blake wasn't some innocent, misunderstood baby.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
They are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you. You like the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so, visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
I mean, how do you explain this interview where Blake was asked how she would like fans to behave if they wanted to approach her to talk about their experiences of SA and DV, which they can relate to because of Lily's experiences in the movie, and she makes a joke about location sharing and gets all sarcastic.
Start with you. Most of us, if we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could. I'm just curious about
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotionally?
Even her co-star couldn't help rolling his eyes and looking absolutely sickened when Blake made that comment. But then again, what do you expect from someone who openly called her co-stars monkeys and made fun of Leon Meir for being born in prison? Yes, you heard that right. During the press tour for Gossip Girl, Blake blatantly talked about Leighton's background, making her the punchline of her poorly delivered jokes.
There was an article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's frenemies. Is that the new term? Frenemies? Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway. A moment by me.
Remember Savannah.
It was another promise was no pet monkey. Yeah. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them. I'm just kidding. Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
Your wardrobe? That is important. Very good.
It's very important.
This is wardrobe.
This is wardrobe. This was on the return rack. I think it was hers. So I had to go and slip them cash to wear it today.
It's not like the whole being born in prison thing was a secret. Leighton herself had talked about it multiple times in the past. However, it still didn't make sense that Blake felt it was her right to make those types of jokes. But come to find out, Blake had been mean to Leighton the whole time they were on set. According to reports, there was serious tension between both actresses on set. It was so bad that other cast members felt pressured to pick a side. Blake and Leighton were best friends on screen, but that friendship didn't reflect anywhere in their personal lives. Some said it was due to personality differences. Blake was more outgoing while Leighton was more of an introvert. However, from watching their interviews together, during the press run you can easily tell it was so much more than personality clashes. Blake's mean girl behavior also manifested itself in the production and press tour of It Ends With Us. She would allegedly try to force other cast members to side with her whenever she had issues with anyone on set, and was always trying to control the movie's creative process. Allegedly, Blake wanted Justin's director's chair for herself, and she would guilt-trip and bully him into letting her make adjustments to the script, sometimes without his knowledge. But that's not all. When Blake finally brought her explosive lawsuit against Justin, there were immediately red flags in her complaints. One of the biggest red flags was that it appeared as though Blake was bribing the media to publish stories painting Justin as the villain, and accusing him of running a smear campaign against her case in point. The New York Times article published literally hours after Blake filed her lawsuit. The article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine" was published.
Justin Baldoni has spoken out against the New York Times in newly obtained court documents. And I read what happened, so you don't have to. Baldoni has stated that a jury must decide if the New York Times is responsible for its involvement with his ongoing legal battle against Blake Lively. In court documents filed on Friday, March 14th, Justin Baldoni has stated that the New York Times has long presumed itself beyond accountability, not here, and that the New York Times went past merely reporting. He then went on that the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative by publishing Blake Lively's complaint in full. and that the fair report privilege that the New York Times seeks to hide behind does not protect it from liability for maliciously colluding with Lively and her cohort to publish a false and defamatory hit piece about the Wayfarer parties, wrongly casting them as villains and making them scapegoats for Lively's well-publicized media missteps. The New York Times responded in a statement to us, stating that the flaws in the Wayfarer Baldoni case were made clear last week in their own legal filing when they asked the court for yet another opportunity to amend their complaint to try and make it legally sufficient.
It didn't add up. The Times article violated many ethical boundaries of journalism. I don't know if y'all have read it, but from the first word it seemed very biased against Justin reading the article. You would think the case had already been tried, and Justin had been found guilty in a court of law. You wouldn't be able to tell that the lawsuit was literally filed hours before the article was released. That's not just irresponsible journalism, it's literally creating a so-called smear machine. The same thing they were accusing Justin of doing, as if that wasn't bad enough in its haste to publish the story. Before anyone else, the Times didn't even give Justin his business partner Steve Sarowitz or Wayfair Studios the chance to respond. To the lawsuit, it gets to a certain point where bad faith journalism is no longer just bad faith. It's straight up diabolical, almost like deliberately trying to sabotage another person's career by publishing a bunch of words that lack substance. So it makes sense that Justin didn't wait too long before firing back in his $400 million lawsuit against the New York Times, Blake and Ryan, for putting out what Justin called a defamatory article about him. And if you thought Justin wasn't affected by the article at all, then think again, because it has been devastating for him because it was published before many people knew about the lawsuit. It set the tone for how people would view Justin, and whatever he said to defend himself, it's like making allegations against someone and then getting a town crier to announce that the person you're accusing is guilty after that. No matter what the person says, they'll always be viewed as a liar.
Let me ask you, what are the dates of these HR complaints? Do you know the dates?
There's no dates. The dates are redacted. The names of the complainants are redacted, except for on one of them, there's an M. And in Blake's original, when she went to Sony, and by the way, they're not to Wayfarer Studios, Justin's company, they're to Sony, the distributor, to their HR department, and there's an M in there, which means at least one of the other ones came around the same time, if it's May, unless it was March, but probably May, same time as Blake.